right, everyone, welcome. We have the next day. We have our winner of our night and day LCQ. We have Andrew or Catch.
Hi.
Wanted to give you just another deck tech for everyone to see. And so, Andrew, what was kind of the theme of your deck?
My deck was using the Moogle Bounty Mayhem cards because I like them. They're Moogles, they're cute.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna have the board game.
next
Hashtag
day,
not sponsored.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, definitely the next day you made us play the Moogle game. So what were some of the main cards that you played against everyone?
Yeah, so the deck is pretty straightforward, to be honest. I'm playing a lot of the MBM cards. So real quick, we'll start with the LB deck. We've got the LB Ash, which is one of the major engines of the deck. When it enters the field, you look at the top 5 and grab an MBM, and then at the beginning of combat, each turn you can pay 1 CP to play an MBM character that costs 3 or less for free. And so she's a lot of value. She essentially draws you a card on entry, and then could save you up to 2 CP on playing other cards every turn, as long as you have an untapped backup to use for it. And so she's one of the engines of the deck. So we've got 2 of her. I'll also go through the LB deck real quick since I started with her. Also running 2 Leos because he's a good LB, you know.
Well, of course, always like
when in doubt, Leo out.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up.
Gilgamesh in case of some break zone, hate in a pinch. Cloud just in case. Titus that I never casted, but and then Lightning is actually the other relevant one here. As you will see, I've got a little package of that in the deck too. So that's actually most commonly. I actually ended up casting 2 Ashes on a Lightning in the game, but I used Gilgamesh once or twice, Leo once or twice.
So with your LB, would you take out the Titus and would you replace it with something else?
I mean, look, realistically, I'm always casting 1 Ash every game, so there's always something I have to throw away to it. So an extra Leo and either like the Titus or the Gilgamesh, if I don't think I need Gilgamesh, is usually how that goes. I had Titus in just in case, like if I get a big enough board, it's obviously a really good card to play. It never really came up though. So the LB is a little flexible because you're almost guaranteed to just throw away 2 for your first Ash every time. And so those can kind of be whatever, really.
Okay, so it's kind of that flex, you know, hey.
Yeah.
I know, like me, I play Earth, and if I can't Chantoto LB, I just
you throw her away first,
I
right, if you don't use her,
so.
yeah. So, yeah, this kind of has a little bit of that, but, yeah, since I'm always playing an Ash, there's 2 slots that kind of really don't matter, but it's good to keep options open, so I have the Titus in just in case it came up. With that topic, obviously, I'm running a bunch of the MBM cards, so basically 3 of everything, right? So I got 3 of the Mont Blanc. He's a really efficient play. He's one of the best ways to start the game. If you get a start with Mont Blanc, you're in a good spot because you can play him, and especially if you can play either Gertie or Hurdy. So when he enters, you can play an MBM character that costs 3 or less from your hand for free. So if you can play Hurdy, you get to go search any MBM card. If you play Gertie, you can get anyone out of the break zone. And just playing a 3-drop backup off your 4-drop backup was really good because these all both get you a card in hand. And in fact, if you line up that into one of these and then drop a Horn right afterward, Horn says when he enters the field, if you have 3 or more MBM characters, draw a card. So you can go a Mont Blanc into either of these and to play that. You got 3 backups and like 2 or 3 cards in hand on your first turn, which is a really efficient way to start the game. So that's most of the backups. I've also got 2 Sorbets. He just color fixes for MBM, which isn't, because MBM is primarily water lightning, it's not the most important thing. But it's nice to have, especially with with one of the monsters you'll see in a second. But it sometimes makes casting turns a little easier when it can be lightning or water. I've also got 2 Bakami. He's another MBM backup. He's kind of generic, but I have used his effect occasionally. Tap him and put him into the break zone. Choose a 4 to cost 3 or less and break it. And use this effect if you have 5 or more backups. Now this deck is typically trying to build up backups. You don't necessarily need to get to 5 every game, but having a lot of backups is really great for some of the forwards we'll talk about.
So does your deck kind of rely on your backups mostly?
Kind of,
So that's why you want to build those up?
Yeah, because you want the MBM count on the board, and so I'm running all MBM backups. I've thought about running other things like a Lena backup, because Lena's a really good card too. And I might test something like that more later, but for now I was keeping just all the MBMs. It just makes the count, getting to the numbers you need for some of the effects easier. But yeah, Bakami's nice. You can sack him. He can clear himself out if you want to play a different backup. But also he can kind of be a mini cloud effect once you have 5 backups, which did come up once or twice yesterday.
Okay.
So that's the backups. We'll move on to the forwards real quick. Forwards are also pretty straightforward. I got 3 of the card everyone's afraid of in the deck, Pinello. She can, when she enters the field, you reveal a top 5 and grab an MBM card, just like Ash. But also she says you can dull 3 active MBM characters to force your opponent to put a forward into the break zone. So this is like one of your main removal engines, and if your opponent can't get rid of that, she'll just eat your forwards over and over again. Because of her, you tend to play kind of a control game plan in the beginning, just using your MBM characters to make as removal, especially if you can drop like 3 forwards in one turn. A really common line, I guess real quick when I mentioned No-No, which is one of the other best removal effects in the game. No-No's cost is reduced by 1 for every MBM character you have, so if you got 5 backups, he's already only 1 CP, which is nice. And he can become free, so with 6 MBM characters, he's completely free, and when he enters the field, choose any forward and break it.
So for the forwards, were these kind of the 2 main ones that you wanted to get out?
These are
control, or?
Yes, because usually at the beginning of the game, you're controlling the game a bit, you're slowing down your opponent, and these are really great for that. Because, for example, a really good turn to go is like, with like 3 backups especially, play Ash, look at the top 5 for a card, pay one of your backups to play Pinello, look at the top 5 for a card, and then like play No-No for free. Actually, I guess you need one more. You need one other character on the board for that. But 4 backups, you can do that. Or if you drop any other 2-drop in between there, then play No-No for free. And now you have 3 forwards that are all active and can't attack anyways. So you dull them all for Pinello's effect and make them stack another forward. So, and you can do that pretty early, even as early as turn 2 if you get the nuts. And the fact that she digs 5 really helps you set that up a lot. And so yeah, being able to like drop Pinello, have another forward, drop No-No for free, break something, break again by dulling is a really powerful line to do. So those are some of the important forward. Those are some of the important forwards early. We've got a number of other forwards. Fran is really useful. Fran gets you an MBM forward out of your break zone. So when your No-No dies, your Pinello dies, get them back. Between Fran and Gertie, MBM actually has a decent amount of recursion, because Gertie gets back any MBM character, so you can get back backups, but also other forwards that you've had to pitch or that died. She also gets back forwards that you've had to pitch or have died. So be careful just killing Pinello or No-No, because they might just get them back.
Well, it's always good to have that recursion in the deck, because I know, especially if someone knows, like, hey, this is the card I need to target, and then they're like, oh, well, now I'll have to deal with it another time because you played it.
Yeah. Chump blocking with No-No just to play it again, or, oh, you killed Pinello, let me do it again, is very good. Fred also has another effect that is actually very relevant as well. Pay 2 lightning, play 1 card named Balthier from your hand onto the field. Balthier is your game ender. You don't care about this card early, but when you are ready to end the game, he will end the game out of nowhere. Very often, how this deck plays is ideally 1 or 2 damage early as I'm controlling you, and then I drop a Balthier and deal all the rest of 5 damage in 1 turn. So Balthier's got haste. He says when he attacks, choose 1 forward. If I control 5 more MBM characters, you can give that forward haste. Now, notably, that can be any forward. It doesn't have to give an MBM forward haste. It can be a non-MBM forward. Not that this deck has very many of those, obviously, but you could like haste up a Leo or something to get in for damage if you need to. And then his other effect is whenever a category MBM forward you control attacks, choose 1 forward, dull it. So it's very hard to keep blockers against MBM if he's on the board. So yeah, the fact that you can play this guy for 2 CP off Fran, and then give something you just played haste and swing in for probably game is very powerful. So this is the game to watch out for when they want to end the game, but it's not really a problem early until they have the board to potentially end the game with.
Is there a potential problem you could deal with once you play him? Like any responses that someone might have?
Oh sure, if you just blank Balthier, then he won't do anything for the turn, like Kukulane him. Of course, he's got some auto abilities, but he's a 9K, so he doesn't really die to Amat. But you could try to cancel his auto abilities. You could just dull him so he doesn't give something haste. Although he still has the other effect that will dull off the other stuff attacking. But also if they can't keep Fran on board, they can't pay him for only 2 CP. You can also pay him for 2 CP in combat. You can do this Fran effect whenever. If they don't have Fran, then they're forced to play him main phase 1, which gives you a lot more room to perhaps interact with him.
Alrighty.
So that's the big things to work off. Also, since he's not good early, they'll also pitch him early and just depend on getting him back later with Fran or with Gertie. So eating him out of the break zone, if you can, is also a thing to try and do. Other forwards, we've got Vaughn. Vaughn is a little interesting in the deck. He doesn't really do anything except for every turn. The most important effect on him is once per turn you can discard an MBM character to draw 2 cards. So that's free value every turn. Discard 1, draw 2. It does have to discard MBM specifically, but you can't really let Vaughn sit on the board too long. Otherwise, he just draws them so many cards and sculpts their hands so well. Also relevant alongside Balthier is when he attacks, you can remove 3 MBM characters from the break zone to activate him, and you can attack a second time. That's
so if you need to, especially like with the Balthier.
Yeah, so
coming in.
That's relevant for a couple of reasons actually. So for one, yeah, hasting Vaughn with Balthier, letting him attack twice with haste out of nowhere, that will end games very quickly. But also, sometimes I've used that effect to activate him, just to give him pseudo brave, so that way I can dull him to Pinello. So a little bit twofold there. He's useful. He's a little high investment up front. He's got to pay 4 for him and then also discard a card after that to draw the 2. But if he manages to stick around, he's a lot of value. Lastly, I had 2 Bosch. Bosch is actually better than I think a lot of people give him credit for. So he's a 2-drop 5k, but if you control 5 or more MBM characters, he gets plus 5,000 and Brave, which is pretty easy to do in this deck. And then you can also discard an MBM character to gain 5,000 power until end of turn. He's nice for a couple reasons. For one, he's a really big cheap body, which sometimes is enough to buy you some time. But also the Brave is very useful for pushing damage, as well as leaving up characters to dull for Pinello. And I found that because of that, like he makes like the Pinello turn, like the turns I need to leave up stuff for Pinello, so much easier. Also, incidentally, if you have him online, he can just like tank Ifrit and threaten to block and kill it by discarding a card, which is also pretty relevant. I've only got 2 of him in the deck because even I was underestimating him, and so I cut him down to 2. But also because I need a little more water CP in the deck. It's a little lightning heavy sometimes, so that's why he's at 2. But I think he's very good, and he could even be at 3, honestly. Real quick, we got some monsters to talk about. We have Cluckatrice. Cluckatrice is probably the main one, and the only off-color card we're playing. You can play any of the off-color Moogle Bounty Mayhem cards, but none of them are really great except for Cluckatrice, I think. So Cluckatrice says at the end of each of your turns, choose a forward and activate it. So you give Pseudo Brave to any of your guys, or activate people to use Pinello easier. Being able to, like, especially for like five active characters, being able to dull 3 to make Pinello sack, go to end step, activate one of them with Cluckatrice, and now have 3 again, is very useful. And of course, you can also become a forward whenever you want for once per turn. Become a 6k. That's also nice. I've dodged board wipes and then chipped in some damage with him. Of course, all the MBM monsters can do that. We also have Pyrolaster here. Pyrolaster's not really that amazing. So he's also a 2-drop 6k, but he says, oh, your dinosaurs, including himself, deals 5,000 more damage. So he essentially hits like an 11k, which does mean he trades into a lot of things. He's also good for threatening Ifrits because he can just be a monster, so Ifrit can't touch him until Ifrit attacks, and he can become a forward and trade with an Ifrit. He's water MBM CP, which is kind of why he's at 3. I had him at less, but again, I was kind of lacking water CP sometimes, so I upped him to 3. He's okay. He's an MBM monster.
Yeah, and would you, within the deck, was there any cards that you think you would take out to add in?
I mean, Pyrolaster's not that important. If I can figure out a water problem fixing the water CP problem separately, you could take him out. Sorbet isn't the most useful. You could drop him down by 1. Other than that, I mean, I like running the full MBM ones. It makes it really consistent for your top 5 checks. Makes it really consistent for being able to play stuff with Ash every turn, or cheating stuff in with Mont Blanc. But real quick, there's another little package I haven't talked about yet. You may notice we're about 12 cards short so far. My other little package I paired with it, since MBM doesn't really fill out an entire deck by themselves, is I'm running a Claire package with Lightning, everyone's favorite water lightning multi-element card. So I've got 5 card name Lightnings. The multi-element Lightning, as I'm sure many people know, 2 CP 7k, haste. When she enters the field, choose 1 forward opponent controls, dull it, and draw a card. And you can pay a water or lightning, as well as remove a card name Lightning and card name Odin from the break zone to play her from the break zone. This is very nice for color fixing early and then late game push for game. Being able to drop Balthier and then play a lightning from the break zone in the middle of combat, dull their stuff, draw some cards. Very nice for helping close out the game. It's also nice because it gives me an excuse to run a bunch of bursts. MBM doesn't really have any bursts in their deck normally except for Herdy. But having 4 burst Odins and these other 2 burst Lightnings is nice for just having some amount of comeback if you're taking damage early, which will happen sometimes. Lightning's not really here to be cast. It's just an EX burst that's mostly just pitched and fed to her. Odins can be cast sometimes in a pinch if you have damage 5 or have enough lightning cards in the break zone. Other than that, they're just solid bursts that can be fed to lightning to reanimate her. Then I've also just got 3 Kukulains because it's a good card.
Yeah, no, totally. Well, I know a lot. I've seen a lot of decks too that run the Kukulain, but also too, would you go down any in that card? Because there's also the 6 like any of the Leviathans.
Leviathan is good. I'm always a little iffy on 6-drop Leviathan because it's very hard to actually hard cast. But it is an amazing burst, and especially in this deck, you can get back Pinellas with it, which is sweet. And it's also very good, of course, if the meta is very light and dark heavy, because it has the put the light or dark card on top or bottom of the deck mode. But I find Kukulain to be enough most of the time because it's helpful for blanking things that I don't really have a way around sometimes, or blanking guys that are swinging in with haste. Because like what a really good thing to do is if I can hold up like 2 backups and 2 forwards with a Pinello on board, and then I can either both or do either of like, hey, I can dull 3 to Pinello to make you sack something, and or I can blank a thing with Kukulain. Is really nice to do because sometimes people will if you only leave up 3 cards, or even if you have 4 cards, they'll try to dull some of your things so you can't do Pinello, and then play something to deal with her. And if you can Kukulain it sometimes, like if it's like a Zoral Jaw or like a Cypher or like a Lightning, the 6-drop Lightning that's about to attack, you can blank it so they don't get their attack triggers. Or if you need to turn off certain effects, like against Gullwings, if they only have like Riku and Yuna, they don't have Pain down, blank the Riku, play a No-No to deal with Riku, or then ideally play a way to deal with Yuna as well, because otherwise they'll find another Riku. But anyway, it's a very generically useful card. You could run like a Leviathan burst instead. Nothing wrong with that. I just like Kukulain.
I totally understand. All right. Well, looks like that's pretty much the deck. Thank you for sharing it for us. And, and also, again, congratulations on your first place.
Oh, thank you.
And you get your, of course, we had enough so we could get you that invite for Nat. So
yeah, I'm excited for that. First time to get that. So
so go ahead and everyone, if you want, give a comment, like, share. Let everyone know. Hey, this is the deck to beat now. This is a new meta.
Wait,
I guess.
don't take against me. Hold on.
But thank you again, and have a good one, guys.